What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam. This is Vancity Audi, and I bet you guys never thought you'd see me driving my 2018 Audi S4 ever again on this channel. But here I am, proving you all wrong. It has been a very long time since you guys have heard from me, and it's been a very long time since you guys have been provided an update on what happened with this car. Now, if you're familiar with the channel, you know most of the story. Last we checked in, we knew that there was a failure. I had the injectors tested. They weren't flowing as optimally as they should have. I ended up losing the tip of the spark plug in cylinder 1, and we ended up having an engine that was not running as healthy as it should. So what I'm gonna do in this video is try not to ramble on too much, but give you guys an explanation of our findings, what took place over the past, I don't know how many months now, over a year, probably a year and a half now that I think about it, and what really took place, what we found at Reiter Performance when we tore down the car, when we tore open the motor, and what we discovered. So when all was said and done, we waited a total of 8 to 9 months to get the tools to set the timing on this motor from Audi Canada. It was a ridiculously long wait, but to be honest with you guys, it wasn't the end of the world, because for me, I didn't have the money to repair the car anyway. So the fact that we had to wait for those tools was okay. But once we had those tools, we took out the motor, we took out the transmission, and we really tore into it to see what was going on. Now, what we found was very, very weird. I'm gonna preface this all by saying to you guys, there's two opinions on what happened with my car. Reiter Performance shares one, and I share another. So I'll go through it all. I'll kind of let you guys know where we're coming from, and you guys can make your own decision, have your own opinion, share them in the comments below. You guys can bicker about it down there. I'm just gonna tell you from my perspective what happened. So we tore open the motor. The problem was in cylinder 1. We pulled out the piston, and lo and behold, it was missing the upper oil control ring. Now, you're thinking missing, no, it must have been damaged, it must have been somewhere. You just didn't find it. Nope, it was missing. We caught all of the oil that we drained out of the engine. We checked throughout the engine. We checked in the cylinder itself for any damage to the bore, anything that oil control ring would have caused once it was damaged, broke apart, fell apart, or moved out of where it should be. There was nothing. The actual cylinder wall was flawless. The bore was flawless. There was no damage to the wall whatsoever in cylinder 1. But logic would tell you that that ring needed to go somewhere. It needed to, I don't know, break off and damage another part of the motor. But it didn't. So Kyle from Reiter Performance is under the impression that my motor never even came with that upper control ring in cylinder 1. Now, the reason why he thinks that is he's dealt with a lot of blown motors. People have brought their damaged motor to him. Can you inspect this? Find out why the failure happened. And he's really good at that. That's something he takes pride in, is figuring out what really happened. And he's seen it a lot of the times where you find the remnants of broken parts throughout the engine. And you're like, yep, there it is. Metal shavings or particulates here, you find them in a filter, just something. My car had no evidence of an actual oil control ring being installed on piston number 1 on the upper portion. The lower control ring was there. I don't know what it's called, but the up and down, the squiggly control ring that's in the middle, that was there as well. But for proof that that upper control ring was never there, you can see the indentations that it made on the skirt from being hammered up and down with no control ring there to prevent that one from bumping into it over and over again. There is a permanent etching in that skirt. So as much as he thinks that, well, damn, it never came with one, I'm under the belief, and it's hard for me to say this out loud because it's still confusing and it doesn't make any sense, that there was one originally. It somehow was damaged from the top of the spark plug breaking off. It somehow made contact with and broke it. And by some miracle, it didn't damage anything else. And then not only that, it just disappeared. It evaporated into nothing because it wasn't in my car. Was it in the oil pan? We searched through the oil pan. When we drained out all the oil, we had a little mesh screen so we could look through it. There was nothing. It was so weird. But if it didn't have the oil ring installed from the factory, you'd think I would have seen the blackened spark plug in cylinder 1 that I did after the mishap. Because later on, that's how we knew something was up with the car. I put fresh plugs in it, I put fresh coil packs in it, and there was still a blackening. You could tell that that cylinder was either running too rich or that oil was getting into it. And the IE tune we had been using, we had been data logging over and over again. No cylinder was running more rich than the other. So we thought it must have been oil seeping through, which makes absolute sense. Because when I did data log the car, we could see that there was corrections happening in cylinder 1 and cylinder 1 alone. Now in third gear, when the load wasn't high enough, the logs looked perfect, it was fine. But when there was more demand on the motor in fourth gear, and I put my foot to the floor, wide open throttle from $2,000 to 6,500 on a stock turbo, or 7,000 RPM on the TTE 810, which is what I had installed, there was some correction in cylinder 1 and a significant amount of correction. Now, if that oil control ring wasn't present, which we found that it wasn't, oil would be getting into that cylinder, and oil has a very low octane rating, lowering the octane of that particular cylinder. So that's why we were seeing a lot of correction in cylinder 1, and we figure why we saw the darkening of the spark plug in cylinder 1. So yeah, take it for whatever you want, take it for what it's worth. Kyle is hell-bent on thinking this car did not come with a ring from the factory because it is physically impossible for that ring to evaporate into nothing.
Oh, that's a manufacturer defect, 100%.
All right, so we just pulled out cylinder number 2. As you guys can clearly see on there, there's an upper ring, clear as day. So we're missing the one on cylinder 1, but clear as day, sure as shit, it's there on cylinder 2. Like the fact that we were so diligent on checking every step of the way and didn't find it, it couldn't have been there from day 1. That's his opinion. My opinion is I really don't know what happened, but the fact that the spark plug was darkening, we took it all apart and it was indented on the skirt, clearly it's not there anymore. But I would think that we would have seen something come up in earlier logs and earlier testing with my car if it wasn't there from day 1. I don't know. What do you guys think? Again, put your comments below. I want to see what you guys have to think on the matter. So I put out on social media some time ago when we were repairing the car that I was going to contact Audi Canada, because with Kyle being sure that this car never came from the factory with that oil control ring, what's the harm in asking? That's kind of where I came from. So it actually got a lot of views on social media, and a lot of people commented their comments on me being a moron or Kyle being an idiot or whatever they wanted to say that was derogatory towards either of us, as most people tend to do on social media, blast out their anchor. But what ended up happening is I reached out to Audi Canada and said, this is the situation. It appears like it never came from the factory with one. How do we go about getting you guys to take a look at it to see if you can identify, yes, it never came with one. I don't know how you guys would go about it. Audi Canada reached back to me and said they will not comment on the matter until I have brought the car and every single piece of it to an Audi dealership, and the Audi dealership would look into it further. But the catch, if they didn't find anything and the end result of that investigation was it's all on me, it was my fault, we did it, then all of that teardown and further investigation at the dealership was my bill to pay. I wasn't about to pay even more money that I didn't have to repair this car to Audi to tell me to F off. The reason I figured that they tell me to F off is a whole slew of them. For instance, this car calls for 0W20 for the weight from the factory. A lot of people that end up modifying these cars and putting a bunch more power through them run a thicker weight of oil like we were. We were running a 5W40, we always had. So that's one thing. They could tell us that we weren't running the correct weight of oil. You're not covered under anything Audi would offer you. Number 2, we had all the bolt-on parts and we were making well over 700 horsepower in this monster.
Running the exact same tune I was last time, but a different day, making a whopping 643 wheel horsepower and 640 pounds-feet of torque. That graph is butter.
So again, another thing, you're pushing the car way harder than Audi had ever intended you to push it. So why would they help if there was something wrong with the motor? Again, in Kyle's mind, they sold us an incomplete vehicle. It was missing a part from the factory. Now, another reason which led him to believe that it might be missing a part from the factory is I reached out to someone in the Audi community who builds a lot of B9, S4, S5, SQ5, RS5, I think maybe SQ7, no Q7. There's so many cars that come with this motor from Audi. He builds a lot of them. And he told me that he had heard rumors, again, rumors, I have no proof, but just someone stating this to me that's dealt with a lot of these motors, that he had heard about EA 839 motors being built in Europe for European make cars, as well as China destined cars, that they were missing oil control rings from the factory. Could that be true? I have no idea. I have no proof to make that claim actually true or not. But the fact that he told me that was very interesting. I did a bit more digging and it appeared like a lot of these early model motors, mine probably would have been built in, no, not probably, it was built in 2017. It's an early model 2018. The motors were built in Europe and then they get put in their cars and shipped over here. What if, it's a big what if, but theory, this motor was destined and supposed to be going in a car that was supposed to make its way to Europe or supposed to make its way to China. And for whatever reason, it got put in my North American bound car. Mistakes happen. These cars are mass produced. Issues happen, problems happen. It's a very possible thing for it to actually happen. Whether it happened or not, who only knows? Speculation at this point. But interesting nevertheless, and I thought I'd share that with you all. So that's another reason why Kyle thinks that it never came with an oil control ring from the factory. But for like real deal, hard evidence, hard proof, I don't have any. So at that point, I said, forget it. I'm not sending this motor into Audi, not all the expense to get it towed and delivered. And the car was totally apart. Like all the parts were all over the shop. The motor was being built. The transmission was on a stand, like everything was taken apart. So it wasn't really worth it to me. So said, let's just fix this. So how did we fix it? It was the easiest fix on the planet. And as you can see, I'm driving around on it. It's healthy as can be. We ended up taking a piston, the rod, the bearings, the entirety of it from another EA 839 motor that he had. And we dingleberried, that's what I've been told by Kyle what it's called. I can't believe it's real. Again, if you guys know this tool is named something different, please let me know in the comments below. He dingleberried cylinder one. So a very, very, very light honing of the walls in cylinder one, just in case there was a scuff that we could not see with the flashlight and the camera. Dropped in the piston, put the car back together again, and voila. It's back to being as badass as it was before. It's all returned back to stock now because I am in the process of selling the vehicle. I've moved on to a new build. But yeah, that's all we had to do to repair the motor. It wasn't anything significant. It was so small of a failure, but I'm glad we stopped driving it when I did. So nothing further happened to it. It drives just like it did before. It's all returned to stock. Not nearly as peppy as the 700 plus horsepower I had before. Back down to half of that at 354, I think it makes factory. But yeah, this is my last video with this car. It's back, it's healthy. I'm excited for the next owner to have it and enjoy it. And maybe they'll do some modifications and I'll see it around town. But that's what happened with my B9 S4. I'm sure I'm missing steps of the way because it's happened so long ago. If you guys have more questions that I haven't answered, please let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. But I am definitely gonna miss this car. This is a very, very cool car. The platform is very, very cool. I really enjoyed the drivability of this car. It is a comfortable cruiser. It's a very fast car in the quarter mile. It held together really, really nicely. It honestly, I think I put like maybe 25,000 kilometers on this car, maybe not even. I'm sorry guys, I don't know what that is in miles, maybe 18,000 miles. So not a ton of driving on it. But it feels, looks, and smells just like it did when I picked it up from Audi Kelowna back in 2022 in December. So a long time ago now. It's a awesome platform, guys. I would just put out that word of caution. To the guys that really want to push these cars, any EA839 motor, and they're looking at putting on a large hybrid turbo and running a high ethanol content, just be really, really careful, guys. There's a company out there that has blown a ton of these motors on their stage 3 ethanol based software. So just be careful because it's asking for a lot of the injector. It's asking for a lot of fuel. And if it doesn't get that, you can have mishaps like mine did. I know that Integrated Engineering went above and beyond their safety protocols. They went back to the drawing board and they invented a ton of different safety features on this car now. I haven't used any of them. I just read about them online, but it looks pretty cool, where it can monitor individual cylinders and how much correction they're seeing. It can give you flashes for a check engine light. It's sad I still don't have the car because I could totally highlight that product that they offer. But yeah, again, be careful, guys. Do a lot of reading, a lot of studying. Make sure your knowledge base is up high when you get into modifying these. Stage 1, stage 2 cars, for the most part these days, are quite reliable. You get nice, heavy, hard torque hits down low. And then because that turbo is not very big, up top it kind of dies. But a easy fix for that is running one of the hybrid turbos. I ran TTE's offerings, the 710, which I think they discontinued, and the 810 now, which is still mad power in these cars. Easily 700 plus. I think I made like 640 wheel horsepower in this thing. And what was it? I think 640 wheel torque as well. So this thing hauled ass on that setup. That was the IE Stage 3 Plus E70 file. But yeah, guys, just make sure you are well versed in how these cars work. Datalog the hell out of it. Ask questions. If you're going with a particular tuner, make sure you're well informed on how the car works, just so you are up to speed with anything that could go wrong or familiar with the problems that could happen on your B9, S4, S5, SQ5, or one of the other many vehicles that Audi makes with this motor installed. I really hope you guys enjoyed the series that I put together on this vehicle. I'm sorry that it's not going any further. I would have really enjoyed to continue to race, to continue to make this a 9-second car, but that never quite happened. I know many others out there have accomplished that, and kudos to all of you. I know it is not an easy feat. Thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, take care, guys.